Hi there, my name's Lesley Mackay Hunter, and I've been nominated for the film Arctic Dogs, which is in the animation category. A highlight working on Arctic Dogs would be the fact that we were a really small production team, which is unusual for, particularly for a featured animation film. And because of that, we kind of went in with a number of boundaries and the fact that our hands were tied on this element, and this element. And then we had to, okay, go get a story in amongst all of that. So it was quite a challenge in the fact that we did have quite a few limitations, but that helped to really open up our minds and our imaginations and find ways to work around that. It was a great crew and also a phenomenal cast in that. So I got to work with some really talented voice actors as well, which was great. The one I enjoy is that I used in this film was in regards to the temp music that went in at the earlier stages. And what it is was the idea of juxtaposing the kind of music with what was going on. And there was one point where we have this massive, massive snow battle. And we also had one of the characters actually say, hey, we need some attack music. They wanted something really serious. And so I decided to play along with the fact of the particular character who was asked to provide the attack music was a little bit of a stoner, a bit of an unusual type. And so I thought, well, what would that character want to do? And so I got to play with juxtaposing a huge epic snow battle with a total beach tune. We actually used Escape, also known as the Pina Colada song. You all know it. And seeing such a beachy kind of summer tune with a huge snow fight was hilarious. It was a lot of fun. Unfortunately, due to other circumstances, story got cut around in different ways. We didn't end up using it in the final, but that was one technique that I think is a lot of fun, is to take something that's the complete polar opposite of what might be the obvious choice and throw it in there, which can be a lot of fun. You can see Arctic Dogs either on Amazon Prime. It is on iTunes at this point as well, or if you're old school and get DVDs, they've got them at Best Buy as well as Amazon.
Bonjour, mon nom est Amélie Labrèche. Je suis nommée dans la catégorie meilleur montage d'un long métrage de fiction pour Kuessipan, aux côtés de Myriam, Verreault et Sophie Leblond. Un aspect vraiment intéressant de monter Kuessipan, c'était le fait que la grande majorité des actrices et acteurs du film étaient des non-professionnels, donc c'était leur première expérience. Donc c'est des acteurs qu'on n'avait jamais vus. Puis moi, je trouve ça toujours super intéressant, tant d'un point de vue de spectatrice que de monteur, parce qu'il y a vraiment une authenticité, puis une richesse, puis c'est des nouvelles voix, des nouveaux visages. Donc de moduler leur jeu, c'était vraiment le fun. Puis un moment vraiment marquant, c'est quand Myriam, Verreault, la réalisatrice, et moi, on a fait visionner à l'actrice principale, Sharon Fontaine-Ishpatao, qui interprète Myriam dans le film. On lui a fait visionner un montage presque final du film. Donc, on avait ses impressions live. C'était stressant parce que c'était comme dans les premières spectatrices du film. On voulait être sûr qu'elle était contente. Puis ça a été fou parce que elle a eu que de bonnes réactions. Elle a ri, elle a pleuré. Puis ce qui m'a vraiment touchée, c'est qu'à la fin, elle a dit j'ai réussi comme à m'oublier, dans le fond, à pu me voir. Moi, je voyais Myriam. Donc, je pense que autant elle avait vraiment réussi son interprétation, comme tous les acteurs sont vraiment incroyables. C'était pas vraiment difficile de bonifier leur jeu, mais qu'elle a dit ça d'elle-même, quand pour un acteur, une actrice, c'est difficile de se voir à l'écran, surtout pour une première fois, ben c'était vraiment, ça nous a enlevé un poids, on était contentes. Un truc que j'essaie de me rappeler, d'utiliser en montage, c'est de toujours revenir à ma première impression du matériel. Donc, quand j'ai visionné une première fois, soit j'ai pris des notes avec plein de marqueurs ou juste de mémoire, comme une émotion que j'ai ressentie ou une information clé, que ce soit pour du documentaire ou de la fiction, parce que ça me force à me mettre à la place du spectateur qui voit le film pour la première fois, et souvent une seule fois. Puis en montage, je trouve que c'est ça qui est vraiment difficile, c'est on perd le recul, on connaît tellement le film par cœur, notre matériel, on se pose tout le temps des questions. Donc, d'essayer de me rappeler la première fois que j'ai visionné le matériel, qu'est-ce qui est ressorti, ben, ça va m'aider à prendre des décisions puis à simplifier, parce que des fois, on est perdu, donc ça aide vraiment. Kuessipan peut être loué sur iTunes, Vimeo et Illico. Puis il y a aussi le site web du cinéma Le Clap. Puis il existe aussi un DVD qui est en vente, j'imagine, dans tous les bons magasins.
Hey, my name is Steve Taylor, and I'm nominated for Best Editing in a docu-series for my work on hip-hop evolution. The biggest highlight for me working on this series was getting to see all the amazing interviews with people, artists, musicians that I had grown up listening to and hearing their stories firsthand from them. This isn't really so much of a tip, but just something that I do when mixing audio. I never use keyframes. I hate keyframes. I think they're a waste of time. And I find it much faster just to use dissolve. So take it from me or don't. Hip Hop Evolution is streaming in Canada and worldwide on Netflix.
My name is Colin Wah. I'm nominated for the show Renewable in the category of web series digital content. I think what was most interesting about working on this project was finding the right tone for these various episodes. At its baseline, the project was about renewables, the title of the show. So it was about green energy. It was about essentially trying to explain these technologies in a way that didn't make them seem like the other, didn't make them seem like a threat. And so we were based out of Alberta. The show was about Albertan subjects. So obviously there was a lot of sort of social and sort of economic tension that was based around how we presented the arguments. And so we always wanted to make sure it wasn't too incendiary, but it gave a little bit of opportunity for people to come and sort of learn and join and be a part of it without feeling threatened. So finding that tone was really a lot of what we spent our time doing. And I don't know, I found it super interesting. Yeah, as far as editing tricks go, I come from the sort of, you could call it like indie scrappy doc thing that I'm doing right now. And so maybe it's considered like some wild card moves and people might not necessarily be down with it, but I'm very into sort of using masking, chroma key, even something I call it reverse stabilization, but essentially using all these tools that you have right on your timeline in order to do things that otherwise you might have to go over to After Effects or other programs to do. So in this episode of Renewable, I used a lot of masking in the way that you might use clone stamp in Photoshop. And so what this lets you do is essentially clean up the frame in a way that otherwise, like I said, you'd have to go through After Effects and there'd be a VFX artist who'd be grumpy and they'd be like, well, why do we got to do this? Is it really worth it? And so in this situation, we have this really nice shot looking down a bridge where we have a group of climate activists with Greta, and that's when she was in town, coming sort of towards us down this like desolate bridge with a vanishing point. So it's this really nice shot, something you want to get in for sure. And then some Instagrammers show up and head off through the media line right into the middle of everyone's shot. So now what you have is your desolate bridge, your climate protesters coming towards the camera, and then a few people just sort of popping the frame a little bit. And so in that case, what I do is sort of overuse masks to clean up the frame. So because the camera was stable, it was much easier. I basically could take the layer, duplicate it up, drop a mask over a chunk of the bridge that was relatively similar to the one that the individual was in front of. And then you kind of slide it over, give it a little bit of a feather, make sure your lines are kind of matching up. This is very similar to how you would use clone stamp in Photoshop. It's just like a quick way within 3 clicks to get someone out of the scene, and yeah, keep your VFX friends happy. Renewable is on the prestigious platform of YouTube.